Mr. Chair, you are live.
All right, thanks, Julian. Good evening, everyone. We'll call to order the regularly scheduled virtual meeting of the Alcoholic Beverage Control Board. It is Wednesday, the 2nd of March, 2022, and it's 7:03 p.m. Board members present are Dick Peterson, Kia Baskerville, and Claire Conger. My name is Jimmy Fraley. Also present tonight, we have City Attorney Mike Lyles and Deputy City Clerk Cynthia Gaines. First order of business is the approval of the minutes. Has the board reviewed the minutes of our last meeting, February 2nd, 2022? And if so, any additions or corrections? All right, is there a motion for approval?
I'll second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, the minutes will stand as approved. So before we jump into our regular business, we'll state for the record that since this is a virtual hearing, anyone wishing to submit public testimony may do so by way of written testimony, which will be submitted as part of the official record. Anybody wishing to submit written testimony may do so by going to www.annapolis.gov/ABC. With that, I will declare our public hearing open. And our first matter is a transfer. We have an application for a transfer of an alcoholic beverage license class B4X, beer, wine, and liquor on sale 6 a.m. to 12 midnight, 7 days a week with a special Sunday license. In addition, sales is authorized from 12 midnight to 2 a.m. to Colin Lennon for the premises known as Sea Salt Restaurant LLC, trading as Sea Salt Restaurant, located at 1 Park Place, Suite 7, Annapolis, Maryland 21401. Give it a minute while we pull everybody forward here. All right, we've got Mr. Buck, we've got Mr. Lennon, and then Mr. Hogan is muted. And all right, perfect, great. Thanks. All right, Mr. Buck, if you could just introduce yourself and name for the record, introduce your clients, and then I'll administer the oath for anybody who's planning on testifying, okay?
Yes, good evening, Mr. Chairman. This is Christopher Buck, B-U-C-K. On behalf of Sea Salt Restaurant LLC, I want to say good evening and thank you to the rest of the board members, Ms. Gaines, as always, and Mr. City Attorney. Thank you all for your time being here tonight. I'd like to introduce both Colin Lennon and John Hogan as the main proprietors of Sea Salt LLC. Colin is a local business entrepreneur, real estate, commercial and residential real estate agent, as well as a member of our community and an investor and partner in this business. Mr. Hogan has a long history of being involved in restaurants in the Maryland, DC area, has a long track record of success, be they in Annapolis or DC, and has partnered with Alfredo, or as we like to call him, Fredo Molinas, who is an executive chef and also has a very impressive history in the Maryland, DC area. I'm sorry,
Mr. Buck, sorry to interrupt. Are your clients planning on testifying tonight? Because if so, I want to just make sure I administer the oath, get their name and address for the record, and then I'll let you proceed forward, okay?
I would ask both of them put their hands up in case any of the members have a question. Yes.
Okay, great, thanks. And if you could both unmute yourself as well so we can get an affirmative yes on the record. Do you solemnly swear and affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give is true and correct?
Yes, I do.
Okay, great. And then, Mr. Lennon, if you could put your address on the record, and then Mr. Hogan, I'm going to ask you to do the same thing, and we'll turn it back over to your attorney, okay?
Okay.
All right, Mr. Lennon, so just get your address for the record.
Yeah, it's 11 Brooke, B-R-O-O-K-E Avenue, Annapolis, Maryland, 21401.
All right, thank you. Mr. Hogan, same thing.
441 Ferry, F-E-R-R-Y, Point Road, Annapolis, Maryland, 21403.
Okay, great. And sorry to interrupt you, Mr. Buck, but you can go right back ahead.
No, I apologize, Mr. Chairman. I was so excited for these guys that I jumped right into the presentation part of it. So
happens all the time.
Yeah, my apologies. The mission statement that we provided with the application, I think, speaks well to the background of the folks that you have involved here as far as who they are and their long past in running successful and in the city's estimation compliant restaurants, as well as the area being the Westin Hotel Park Place, the fact that Fido was there for many years, that this is really a transfer of an existing, which has no real effect on the amount of licenses in the city. It fills a need that is dire in that part of the city, in that the only restaurant that's there now is Carpaccio, an Italian restaurant with a much different type of flair and a more local clientele. This restaurant will serve both local and hotel guests by way of at least 3 different walking distance hotels. It fulfills the need. It checks off all the boxes that are required under the code. The individuals are trained very well and are compliant with and know what the code provisions are. They've been doing this for a long time. I know this board has a very long docket tonight for folks who are trying to get their St. Patty's Day extensions to their licenses in. So I'm going to defer to what we have filed and ask if there are any questions that we can clear up or respond to in order to move this thing forward post haste.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Buck. What type of construction is going on at the location right now? Could you kind of just briefly walk us through it, or maybe one of your clients wants to speak to that?
I'm gonna allow either Mr. Hogan or Mr. Lennon to do that. Colin, you're muted.
You're
There you
muted.
go.
You're muted.
Yeah, John, you want to take it or you want me to take it?
Sure. Thank you. There is no construction going right now. We're in the permitting process. So our demo application is into the city. We don't have it back yet. Building permits, we haven't submitted. So I think that answers the question.
What's your time frame for the renovation? How long do you think it's going to take before you can get open?
We'd love to be open by May 1st. Our original target was April 1st. We've been in lease since December 1st. We have a timeline on the lease. Obviously, we have rent to pay and those kinds of things. So the actual renovation will be relatively quick. Think of instead of a full renovation, it's a makeover. We're not building walls and putting roofs on. We're simply doing small renovations inside and decor and signage and all that kind of stuff. So May 1st would be great. Sooner would be even better, but I think that's a reasonable target.
All right. Are you? And I don't know if you thought this far down the road. What are your plans for hiring staff? How many staff members are you planning on having when you initially open? Are you keeping folks on from Fidos, that kind of thing?
Actually, yes. And believe it or not, I gave a former employee the key to the front door 2 nights ago. And it's a true story. We do have a really great relationship with Keith and Wells, who are the previous owners. They have passed on their employee list to us. We have an open house policy. We also understand we have to run a business. So everyone is required, by law, of course, and by integrity, but to apply to our business. New folks, old folks, everybody in between. We will have a need of probably initially to open close to 20 staff. We are a very food-centric concept coming in. We have an amazing kitchen, an amazing menu, amazing chef. It's going to require a kitchen team of 6 to 8 people to start from day one, including the executive chef. We'll have a management team of 3 to 4 people daily. We'll have a front of house staff of anywhere between 8 to 12 to 15. We have a nice size restaurant space. We have a huge patio. So initially, I'm expecting 20 to 24 new hires. As we build our business, we progress and we grow, and we meet that need of staffing issues and payroll and all those kinds of things. So I can attest that I opened Level Restaurant in 2009 originally with my partners Andrew and John and Chris. We peaked somewhere in the range of 42 employees. So, we understand the market really well. We understand the numbers. But initially, yes, probably 20 to 24 going in. And, we hope to employ as many people in this business as well. Many people as we can.
Yeah, I appreciate the answer. Thank you. That's all I have. We'll turn it over to the board to see if any other board members have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, and Mr. Hogan, I mean, this is something we always ask folks, and I know that you've been a businessman here for a long time. Will everyone be tips trained who will actually be serving alcohol?
Yes. In fact, the policy of going back to level again, I don't change those policies, but the policy for all staff, not just front of house staff, is to be tip certified or TAM certified. Here in Maryland, we use tips. I have been alcohol trained and actually have trained that alcohol program across this country as a consultant and also in my own bars and restaurants. So all my owners, which is Alfredo, Colin, and myself, all the staff, front of house, back of house, will be tip certified, serve safe certified before we open. Maryland's a little confusing. I know they have classes and courses that they want you to take in person if you're seeking tips manager certification. Anne Arundel County has a law, I believe it's a law that at every business that has a liquor license, you have to have one manager that's manager certified, manager tip certified. Servers and individual employees, staff members can go online and get their certification online via the business can provide them a passport, so it doesn't cost them anything. So we'll do a combination. We love to do things in person, so we'll hire the local guy, and we'll also open our business up to any other employees locally that want to get tip certified. It's also a way of spreading the cost across many businesses. So, Scott, who has Sailor up the street, may have some new employees, and he may ask them to join in, or Andrew down the street, or Miss Shirley's next door, something along the lines. But we assure you that every employee will be tip certified in the business before we open the doors.
No, thank you, and we appreciate you working with the other businesses. That's great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions from any board members?
I have none.
Okay, Mr. Buck, anything you'd like to add?
I just want to finish the way I started. I think that you're not going to meet a more veteran group of people who understand not only the law, but the operations of both the restaurant, the city, and what they need to do in order to comply. They're leaders, not followers. And I think they're going to be great license holders and an asset to the community. And I'd ask that the board rule favorably on their application. Thank you very much for all of you for your time, especially Ms. Gaines. We always appreciate you going above and beyond. And thank you for your time, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you, Mr. Buck. Well, with that, do I hear a motion regarding this application for a transfer of an existing alcoholic beverage license, Class B4X, Beer, Wine, and Liquor, on sale 6 a.m. to 12 midnight, 7 days a week with a special Sunday license. In addition, sales is authorized from 12 midnight to 2 a.m. by Colin Lennon for the premises known as Sea Salt Restaurant LLC, trading as Sea Salt Restaurant, location 1 Park Place, Suite 7, Annapolis, Maryland, 21401.
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, request is granted. Congratulations. Good luck, guys.
Thank you all very much. We
Good
look
luck.
forward to seeing you
Thank you
there.
guys very
luck.
much. Look forward to welcoming everybody in the new space.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care, guys.
May we be excused?
Absolutely. Thanks.
Thank you.
All right. Cheers, folks.
All right, with that, we can declare the public hearing portion closed, and we'll turn it over to some new business here. First on our list, we have a request for an extension of licensed premises, including the adjoining parking lot with consumption of alcoholic beverages, to Stan and Joe's Saloon for a few events here. First is the annual St. Patrick's Day Parade, scheduled on Sunday, March 6th, 2022 from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Anne Arundel County Firefighters Emerald Society fundraiser scheduled on Saturday, April 9th, 2022, and Sunday, April 10th, 2022, from 1 p.m. to 7 p.m., and a local music fest scheduled on Saturday, April 30th, 2022, from 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. All of the events are located at 37 West Street, Annapolis, Maryland, 21401. Mr. McGovern, do you have, is your camera working?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, just can't see you.
How about now?
No.
Okay.
Oh, there we
Hey.
go.
Go.
Perfect,
All
perfect.
right. Good evening, everybody. Happy, I hope everyone got outside today. It was a harbinger of things to come. I know we're busy tonight, so I'll get to it. This is the yearly pitch when I come to you guys, and quite frankly, it's all the events are basically the exact same. They're all fundraisers. The parade Sunday, we use the parking lot as we have before. Sometimes we'll throw DC might be bringing down a fire truck in PG County, and just so the kids can climb on it. Sometimes we get some local politicians who like to take pictures, et cetera, et cetera. To get to the meat of the events, as always, both staffs of both my restaurants have all been tip trained, servers, bartenders, and the doormen. We all refreshed everybody about 3 weeks ago. There'll be no glass in the parking lot. Every egress will be manned the whole time by a security guard. We actually have paid some guys to come in this year just to be safe. A friend of ours, a bunch of ornery rugby playing Marines, but good dudes. We're going to be doing IDs aggressively with the wristbands. I know what you guys want out of me, and as always, I will endeavor to do everything in my power to make sure I don't make you angry. Like I said, every event is basically the same. There's two are for local firefighters, the Anne Arundel County fire crew coming in on Sunday, and from everywhere, DC, Maryland, PG County. We've had a bunch of phone calls. Apparently they canceled the DC parade. So it's going to be a crazy day in Annapolis. I'm fully staffed. We're ready to rock and roll. And, like I said, I've always understood what you expect out of me, and I take great pride in doing it.
All right. I'm guessing this is the exact same setup you've done over the past couple of years. Nothing has really changed.
Correct.
Okay.
The
any issues in the past?
None that I know of.
Good answer.
So I do want to say that the last event for the AM FM will have music, but I am very aware. They all end by 7, if not earlier. But I'm very aware of sound and keeping it down and being on site. And everyone has my cell phone, so I'm aware of that thing. We usually don't do music just because our neighbors do, or it's just you don't need it. It's going to be a beautiful day, and looking forward to lots of conversations.
Joe,
Yes, sir.
the one thing you didn't cover, do you have your landlord's permission this year?
Yes, we have
Okay.
landlord permission, and we have the insurance and stuff to indemnify everybody, or
Great,
whatever the word is.
thank
So,
you.
I just have a quick question, because you mentioned the DC parade or situation is canceled, and you're expecting potentially more people. Any idea how many more?
Into Stan and Joe's or into the city?
Well, into the Stan and Joe's in particular. Oh, look, you guys are, you're famous. You're on the map. It just, I don't know how much that DC parade, puts out or garners in terms of the number of people. But are you prepared to deal with slightly more customers than usual?
Oh, we're at full battle stations. We have what we affectionately call the rent maker, which is, the next 2 weeks. I've been in touch with the DC fire chief, who's a dear friend of mine. We're expecting about 30 to 40, the musician, the marching band will be coming by in the morning. And that's what we use the parking lot for. They go out there and they rehearse a little and get, their uniforms on. And we have a breakfast buffet going for the firefighters. And so we're ready. That's really the only reason I asked for the parking lot. The parking lot is more of a pain in the ass, to be quite honest, than, I just like to fill up the pub and have a couple Guinness. But the parking lot allows the fire trucks and the pictures and the families. And, we keep it under our tight wraps. And you don't want to put 12 or 15 bagpipes in my little pub. It just is loud. So, but yeah, we're full. Every single one of my employees and some from the Riverside place are working. So we're going to be ready. It's been a long 2 years and we need it. So
Great. Glad to hear. Thank you.
thank you.
Any additional questions about these events? All right, hearing none, do I hear a motion regarding these requests for extensions of licensed premises, including the adjoining parking lot with consumption of alcoholic beverages to Stan and Joe's Saloon for the annual St. Patrick's Day Parade on Sunday, March 6, 2022 from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Anne Arundel County Firefighters Emerald Society fundraiser on Saturday, April 9th, 2022 and Sunday, April 10th, 2022 from 1 p.m. to 7 p.m. and a local music fest scheduled on Saturday, April 30th, 2022 from 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. All events taking place 37 West Street, Annapolis, Maryland, 21401.
So moved.
A second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, Joe, your requests are granted. Have fun.
All right, thanks. And guys, I want to say something real quick. We just turned 15 last week. So thank you for 15 great years, guys. Thank you very much.
Good luck, Joe.
Take care.
All right. Next up, we have the Esport Democratic Club. And this is a request for the open to the public event number 1 with outside beverage service on private property for the Esport Green Beer Races scheduled on Sunday, March 13th, 2022 from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. I think so. Mr. Forney. Mr. Forney, can you unmute and turn the camera on?
Hi. Thank you.
All right, if you could just state your name and address for the record and then tell us a bit about the Green Beer Races this year.
Dana Richard Forney, 1169 Bay Highlands Drive, Annapolis, Maryland, 21403.
All right, why don't you tell us about the Green Beer Races?
Well, we've been doing it for 18, 20 years. We haven't done it for the last 2 years because of COVID. So we're pretty excited about doing this. We're benefiting the Esport Volunteer Fire Department and the SPCA of Anne Arundel County. We're having music from 1 to 5 and all the little activities with the green beer races and all that, but really we don't use beer. Why waste it? We will have a fence going around the perimeter of the whole parking lot. We hired a couple off-duty Annapolis police officers for security. Let's see, they will be, walking around the whole area, keeping care of everything. We will have one entry area that will be patrolled. All our bartenders and officers and all that are tips certified. And we do have one that is crowd control, took the test, the thing for the crowd control. And I believe that's about it. We will be doing wristbands for ID for, minors and stuff like that. And this time we definitely have a lot more porta potties than we did last party we had. And that's about it.
All right, and when's the music ending for this event? Do you have a shut off time for the music?
Yeah, 5 o'clock. The whole thing's
5
over
o'clock.
at 5.
Okay.
I mean, it probably won't run till 5 because it takes a little bit to get the people out. So, we say 5, but it'll probably end around 4, a little after 4. Usually when we say 4, it runs over a little bit, and I'm just giving us a little bit of leeway to, get out the door.
Sure.
Because by 5, we're ready to go home.
Long
It's pretty
day.
active.
Long day. All right. Board members have any questions? All right. Hearing none, do I hear a motion for this request for an open to the public event, event number 1 this year, with outside beverage service on private property to the Esport Democratic Club for the Esport Green Beer Races, Sunday, March 13th, 2022, from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Forward the motion.
Okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Have a good time, Mr. Forney.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for coming out.
Thanks.
Okay, next up, we have an application for a special class C 1-day liquor license, beer, wine, and liquor with live music to the the Annapolis Maritime Museum for the Oyster roast and sock burning scheduled for Saturday, March 19th, 2022, from noon to 4 p.m. 723 2nd Street, Annapolis, Maryland, 21403. And who do we have here tonight for the Maritime Museum?
You have Alice Estrada,
And
President and CEO, and
Mary Austri.
and
Welcome both tonight. If you guys could both just give us your addresses so we have those for the record, then I'll turn it over to you and you can tell us about the event.
I should know this by now. Do you want our personal addresses or our business address? Personal?
Personal, yeah. that'd be
Okay,
great.
I'm 1764 Broadley Trail, Annapolis, 21401.
And I'm 207 Marlbrook Road, Severna Park, Maryland, 21146.
All right, thank you. Go right ahead and tell us about this event.
Okay, well, thank you and for this opportunity. And like everybody else, we are thrilled to be back after a 2-year hiatus with our beloved Annapolis oyster roast and sock burning scheduled for March 19th from noon to 4. The event includes live music, all you can eat oysters, and a sock burning, which is a ritual for Annapolis, announcing the rite of spring, the passage of spring. I will say that we have a lot of dignitaries coming this year, including the governor and the first lady, county executive, and I believe the mayor is scheduled to attend as well. We will have also a variety of other activities, including electric boat rides to our park campus. We like to let people know that we have 2 campuses. We also will have tours aboard our skipjack, Wilma Lee, and also a really cool thing, we're going to have divers, old-fashioned divers with those big helmets doing demonstrations at the end of one of our piers. So that sort of is the overview of our day's activities. Mary was going to speak to a little bit about the logistics and the precautions that we're taking to ensure a safe event.
Right. Aye. Okay. So the logistics, pretty much the same that we've done for the past 10 years. One big difference this year is at our main bar, we've hired professional bartenders that have all been tips trained. Makes it a little bit simpler on us and a little bit faster for our guests that are attending. We've also hired 2 police officers for security. 3 of our staff has taken the crowd management course. Everybody that is serving alcohol or IDing our guests have been tips certified. We've notified our neighbors, and our immediate neighbors right around us have been given complimentary tickets to join us. Wristbands will be worn by all. And again, we're IDing guests at the door. However, having the professional bartenders, we told them, please feel free to ID again, which they said they definitely will do.
Okay. Does the board have any questions about this event?
Dick, you're on mute.
Dick, we can't hear you.
Happens all the time, Dylan.
That's the famous last word. You're on mute.
I mean, you probably prefer not to hear me. So will the
Not
street
true.
be open or are you closing the street?
We close the street from Bay Shore down. We have to leave half of it open so Esport Yacht Club slip holders can access
That's right.
And Wild Country is participating, so their store won't be open. So we don't have to have access down Bayshore, but we do have access down 2nd Street. So Esport Yacht Center does, patrons, slip owners do have access.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions from any board members?
Well, how
All
big's
right.
how big's the crowd gonna be? Because I know you sold out within hours, right?
We did. We're expecting about 800 folks, but being a community family event, people come and go. So, I mean, yeah.
And we intentionally don't oversell it because we really want the experience to be a good one. We don't want people to wait in line 30 minutes to get a drink or, 30 minutes to get their oysters. So we really keep it a manageable crowd that we can handle. It's painful because we'd like to sell more tickets, but we do that intentionally.
That's just you, but good luck.
Well, I mean, you guys have done a great job in the past, and good luck. You'll be fine.
Thank you.
All right, well, do I hear a motion regarding this request for the special class C one-day liquor license for beer, wine, and liquor, including live music, the Annapolis Maritime Museum for the oyster roast and sock burning on Saturday, March 19th, 2022, from noon to 4 p.m., 723 2nd Street, Annapolis, 21403.
Mr. Chairman, so moved.
All right, do I have a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, have fun.
Thank you. Can I just say thank you? And we have a true confession. Mary and I were banging on the council doors at 5:07, wondering why no one was letting us in. Somehow we missed the virtual part of this meeting. So we raced back here to the office. Thank goodness we made it.
I wonder the same thing, Alice.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank
Take
you.
care, thank you.
Bye-bye.
All right, I'm going to combine items 6 and 7 on the agenda tonight, with both pertaining to requests for Warrior events. These are applications for the consumption of alcoholic beverages on city property, beer, wine, and liquor, including music, for Warrior events for the St. Patrick's Hooli, scheduled on Saturday, March 5th, 2022, from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. And also for Shamrock the Dock, scheduled for Sunday, March 6th, 2022, from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. Both are located at the Susan Campbell Park, 1 Dock Street, Annapolis, Maryland. Who do we have here tonight for Warrior events?
Hello, sir. This is John O'Leary. I'm the president of Warrior Events. I reside at 1201 Crummell Avenue, Annapolis, Maryland, 21403.
All right. Thank you, Mr. O'Leary. If you could just tell us about these two events.
Absolutely. So this Saturday, our application is for a liquor license for the Hooli, which is our one of our fundraisers for the parade and for Warrior Events. Warrior Events is a nonprofit that supports veterans, sick, ill, and injured troops, first responders, medical, as well as the general community. The intention for the evening is to have our event from 5 to 10. We are quite successful with this event in that it's sold out. The governor is attending for the first time, which we're very excited about. And there will be a full dinner supplied by Adam's Ribs. We have Irish dancers, a pipe band, Chesapeake Caledonians. We have a band coming in from Las Vegas for the cocktail hour, and then Dublin 5. And then there's a program as well to recognize the sponsors, the supporters of the parade and Warrior Events. And I'm hoping again that the governor will, and he probably will, grab the microphone and welcome everybody. So that's Saturday night. Do you want me to go through Sunday as well?
Yeah, why don't you tell us about Sunday as well, and then we'll just let the board ask any questions they might have about both the events.
Okay, sir. So the parade, as most of us know, is scheduled to step off at 1 o'clock on Sunday. We're quite excited. It's been 2 years, as we all know. The buzz about town is it's already quite loud. I'm excited about it. I think the town is. The weather looks to be great. Maybe a chance of rain, but approaching the all-time high of 73 degrees, which would be just amazing. After the parade, we have, and what this is about is Shamrock the Dock, which is a free and open festival to the public. We have music. We again have Irish dancers. We are expanding upon the offering for more family items, such as Irish dance lessons, different types of games, face painting. We actually are adding some more face painters, sketch artists. We have, we have a pizza van coming. And yes, we are also going to be selling alcohol. And we also have a sponsor that is going to have a quote unquote room, one of the tents that they're using as a gathering place for their company and their clients, which is new for us this year. I anticipate it to be quite popular. In the past, we've had a few hundred people. If we have 70-degree weather on City Dock, Annapolis, I anticipate us having a pretty good crowd, which will be great. If you've seen it, the infrastructure, it's pretty extensive with the tenting and the bathrooms and the generators and the electrical run. So we need it to be sort of successful there to pay for it. And again, that also combined with the Hooli support the parade. And should we have money left over back into the events. Last year, or I should say 2 years ago, we did have money left over. And I say it that way because, man, the costs have gone up. The insurance went from $2,200 to $10,000 for the weekend. So a lot of the costs that we are incurring are just skyrocketed. I just say that because we're hoping to have money left over. But in 2020, we had money left over. And we were able to really capitalize on that money and create a fund. Of course, this was one of the last things we did before the pandemic. And we basically turned $10,000 into $100,000 with grants from Rotary, from private donations. And we took that money that we raised from this event and bought meals from local restaurants. And were at first supplying them to the fire departments and the police departments and the hospital, Anne Arundel, as well as Greater Baltimore. For obviously during the first part of COVID, and then over time, the fire department said, you know what, we don't need to be fed. We're paid and we can eat. Thank you very much. So we then partnered with Feed Anne Arundel, and we then supplied over 10,000 meals, all stemming from the parade, which is pretty cool. I don't know if anyone knows that. So we still supply some meals down to Walter Reed to continue our mission of supporting the troops. So we hope to continue that, but we're really hoping that our events can pick back up this year. So that's really the backbone of the reason for this parade, as well as bringing a lot of joy and business to town. I'll take questions.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. O'Leary?
Well, I'm just curious. I mean, it's a big parade. Who security wise, I mean, do you hire private contractors and coupled with the city, or how does that work?
That's a great question. Thanks, Kia. We hire Safe, S.A.F.E. which is a professional security company. They are the company that manages Ravens Park, the Naval Academy Stadium. They have done our events in the past. They know the area. Of course, it is coupled with local police, particular to Shamrock the Dock. I have a pretty good feeling that we'll have state troop or governor's troopers there Saturday night. But in the past, it's been our security that we hire out that are trained. I'm sorry, that's the answer.
Yeah, no. It's a great answer. I mean, I know. It's just you guys do a great job, and thank you.
Sure.
Any additional questions of Mr. O'Leary? All right, hearing none. Do I hear a motion regarding these requests for applications for consumption of alcoholic beverages on city property, beer, wine, and liquor, including music, to Warrior events for the St. Patrick's Hooli, Saturday, March 5th, 2022, from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. in Shamrock the Dock, scheduled for Sunday, March 6th, 2022, 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. Both events taking place at Susan Campbell Park, 1 Dock Street, Annapolis, Maryland.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, Mr. O'Leary, your requests are granted. Good luck and have fun.
Thanks. We'll see you all out there.
Thanks.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right, next up, we have a request for an extension of licensed premises with consumption of alcoholic beverages, limited food items, and live music to the Boatyard Bar and Grill for the Captain's Party scheduled on Saturday, April 3rd, 2022, 5 to 8 p.m., as well as the 19th Annual Spring Fishing Tournament scheduled on Sunday, May 1, 2022, from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m., both events taking place at 400 4th Street, Annapolis, Maryland, 21401. Kevin, good to see you. If you could just put your name and address on the record for us and tell us about the parties.
Sure. My name's Kevin Schendel. I reside at 412 Golf Course Drive, Arnold, Maryland, 21012.
All right, go ahead and tell us about these two events. I'm guessing we're going to hear a lot of what we've heard in the past about them, but go right ahead.
Of course, good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. It's great to see you all again after a 2-year layoff. We are excited, like everyone else, to resume all these great events that make Annapolis special. Our event is the 19th Annual Boatyard Bar and Grill Spring Fishing Tournament. That will take place on May 1st. That's a Sunday. That's about the only difference this year as opposed to in years past. And the Captain's Party will be on Saturday night instead of Friday. At the Captain's Party, it's a very quick event. That's where all the captains come to the Boatyard. Have a limited menu for them. They grab their rules of the tournament, have a quick beer, and go home because they're out on the water early. Then the next day, the party is from 4 to 9 at the Boatyard. Music at 5. We will shut down bar service at 8:15, and I'm sure it'll be an early night because it's a Sunday this year and everybody's got to work Monday morning. So it will be an early close. And yes, of course, we do all the same things that everyone else does. We'll have all alcohol service will be by Boatyard Bar and Grill staff members who are all tip certified. We have five members on staff who have done the crowd control course. We'll have 3 off-duty uniform Annapolis police officers. And of course, we'll have 3 areas of ingress where we will check to make sure when people leave that they don't take alcoholic beverages out into the city. And of course, this event, like I said, is our 19th year, and it's to benefit Coastal Conservation Association of Maryland. It goes to the Chesapeake Bay Foundation, and of course, the City of Annapolis Youth Fishing Camp are all the recipients of the money raised for this event.
All right.
What else do I have? I think that's it. Of course, everybody we'll have a check-in where everyone gets ID'd and wristbanded. And then of course, all of our bartenders know that they can check for ID where alcohol service at the bar, because that's where the violation would occur. So we've never had a problem in 19 years, and we don't anticipate any problems this year.
Any questions from the board? No? Okay. Well, hearing none. Dick, do you have a question?
No, I make a motion to approve.
All right. Do I have a
Second.
Second.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Good luck,
Got your
Kevin.
requests approved. Good luck. Have fun.
Thank you all. Great to see you.
Thanks. Okay. Next up is Ram's Head with a request for an extension of licensed premise with consumption of alcoholic beverages, limited food items, and music in the parking lot for the St. Patrick's Day events scheduled for Saturday, March 12th, 2022, 10 a.m. to 10 p.m., 33 West Street, Annapolis, Maryland, 21401. All right. And who do we have here from Ram's Head tonight?
Hi, everybody. Kyle Muehlhauser, owner of Ram's Head, 409 Grinstead Road, Severna Park, Maryland, 21146.
All right, Mr. Muehlhauser, why don't you tell us about this party? What's going on? What you guys are planning?
Yeah, like everybody else, just happy to get back to what we've been doing 2 years ago. I think I actually lost count after skipping a couple of years, but we're somewhere in the teens with our St. Patty's Day party. We tent the back parking lot. We use our staff, all tip certified, bring in extra security, checking IDs, wristbands, music from noon until 9 p.m. Yeah, just a all-day St. Patty's Day party that we're very excited to get back to.
All right, same setup as years past.
Yes, it's
Right.
all identical. So, yep.
Okay. Have you had any issues in the past? I mean, I can't recall any.
I don't recall any either.
All right. Any questions from the board? All right, well, hearing none, do I hear a request for this, a motion for this request for extending the licensed premises, consumption of alcoholic beverages, limited food items, and music to Ram's Head Tavern in the parking lot for the St. Patrick's Day events, Saturday, March 12th, 2022, 10 a.m. to 10 p.m., 33 West Street, Annapolis, Maryland.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, Mr. Muehlhauser, your request is approved. Have fun. Thanks.
Have
Thank
fun.
you all very much. All right, good night.
Night.
All right. We now have a application for a deletion of a licensee for Sakura Cafe, trading as Rock and Roll Cajun Sushi Bar located at 105 Main Street, Annapolis 21401. The licensee to be removed is Jade Wu. Do we have anybody here tonight for Sakura?
It does not seem like we have anyone tonight.
All right. We don't have anybody?
Nope.
We will, I guess, call them back next time.
Yeah, I sent them a reminder email too during the meeting as well.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
but anything.
Yep, Cindy.
Mr. Chair, I'm a little concerned about this one because I happen to know that the only licensee on this license, because of information I received back from the renewal process, is that she no longer resides in the city or the county, which is why I spoke to the owner of this application or this premise about replacing her. Or he actually just wanted to move himself up because he was also on the license. But he knew, I spoke to him and he knew that he needed to appear to do that. So I'm not sure why he didn't. And I think he also, he actually also accepted the meeting invitation, so.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, so he's, I mean, if he didn't appear, there's not much we can do, fortunately.
Yeah. So that means that in the renewal process, do I move him up? Just move him up, or even though he didn't attend this hearing? How do you want me to handle that?
I think we need to have him in for a hearing. It's a requirement that he comes in for the hearing. So I think we gotta, my take would be, with the board's permission, that we send a letter out to him or send an email telling him that he failed to appear, and take it from there. But we can't alter the license right now. We might just not be able to renew it since he didn't appear. So. Sound good, everybody?
Yeah. Makes sense.
Okay, I'll do that.
Dick, your audio doesn't need working, Dick.
I did that on purpose.
Anything.
All right, if you want to, we can move on to the next one, I guess. And we'll see what kind of a response we get. Thanks for trying, Cindy, and thanks for trying, Jordan.
Yeah.
It's a shame that he didn't pop on. All right, well, next we've got Carpaccio. We've got an application for a substitution of licensee for Carpaccio Tuscan Grill, Inc., trading as Carpaccio Tuscan Grill, 1 Park Place, Annapolis, Maryland, 21401. The licensee being removed is Gennaro DeMeo, and the new licensee is Brian Hubermel. And who do we have here tonight? I see Mr. Hubermel's there. Can you turn your camera on, Mr. Hubermel?
I'm trying right now.
No problem.
Start my video. It's freezing up a little bit. Hold on one sec. I think it should be coming up now.
Okay.
Yeah, hold on.
And Mr. Burns is
There
here
we
as well.
Oh, and Mr. Burns is here.
Yes.
All right. Mr. Burns, good to see you.
Testing 1, 2. Good to see you.
All right, I'll turn it over to you. If you just want to introduce your client, make sure you put your name and address on the record. We'll get Mr. Hubermel to put his name and address on the record. He can tell us what's going on.
All right, I will. Thank you. Chair, Mr. Chair, members of the board, Ms. Gaines, it's nice to see you after many talks on the phone. I appreciate it. I'm here tonight on behalf of Carpaccio, with what we think is a fairly perfunctory substitution of licensee because of an officer change. With me is Brian Hovermail, who's been involved with the Carpaccio restaurant for a while. And it was interesting that earlier you had the former Fodot location and they actually mentioned Carpaccio. I think Carpaccio will take it as a compliment that they're considered a place where locals go. I think they've been a good citizen. You know, as a preamble, I think Carpaccio has been a good citizen, doing a great job producing great food and beverage for the city. And as sometimes happens, there's changes in leadership and changes in officers, and this matters before you because of that substitution. I don't know if Mr. Hovermail will have to answer questions, but anticipating your question, Mr. Paley, you may want to swear him in.
Yeah, I will. Mr. Hovermail, if you could raise your right hand, I'll just administer the oath really quickly. Do you solemnly swear and affirm under the penalties of perjury that the responses you give are going to be true and correct?
Yes, I do.
Okay, great. And if you could just give us your address too.
2021 Puritan Terrace, Annapolis, Maryland, 21401.
Okay, great.
To the board, as Ms. Gaines knows and would have shared with you, there was a submission of a package in a timely manner with the required information supporting the corporate change at Carpaccio, the stock change, and more importantly is the officer change. Mr. Hovermail's been involved in businesses with the ownership group before. He's been involved with Carpaccio. This is simply part of the evolution of the leadership at business. And I think we would rest on the paperwork submitted, but he's happy to answer any questions that the board may have.
All right, thank you, Mr. Burns. Does the board have any questions of Mr. Hovermail and Mr. Burns? Okay, well, hearing none, is there a motion regarding this application for the substitution of a licensee for Carpaccio Tuscan Grill, Inc., substituting Mr. Hovermail for Mr. DeMeo?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thanks, Dick. Motion is approved. Thank you, Mr. Burns. Mr. Hovermail, good
All right,
luck.
thank you.
Thank you all. Have a great spring.
Thanks. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, next up, we have an application for a deletion of licensee for J.C. James LLC, trading as Lido Pizza and Pasta, 505 South Cherry Grove Avenue, Annapolis, Maryland, 21401. The licensee to be removed is Louis J. Mason with no substitution. And who is here for Lido's tonight?
Let's see here. Can you hear me? Oh, hi.
Yep, gotcha.
Let me just-
Hardest part of the night.
My wife was frantically on the phone with Julian trying to figure this out. So you saw this just occurred tonight. So yes, sorry. Curtis Nolan here, Lido Pizza Annapolis.
All right, Mr. Nolan, can you just give us your address, please?
Yes, 1505 Marlin Lane in Huntingtown, Maryland, 20639.
All right, why don't you tell us about this deletion? What's going on?
Louis Mason was my father, and he unfortunately passed away December 11th last year. And so we'd like to just remove him from the license, obviously.
Okay. Any other changes to the corporate structure of the business?
No, Joan Mason is still on the license, and she's my mother. And so we're still a family business.
Great. Do any board members have any questions, Mr. Nolan?
No questions, just, on behalf of the entire board, condolences and good luck.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Is your mother-in-law the licensed residential agent?
I'm sorry, Dick?
Is your mother-in-law a city of Annapolis or Anne Arundel County resident?
Yes, she is. We added her to the license a few years ago. I forget exactly when, but she had reached the 3-year term. I think she lives in Odenton.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right. Do I hear a motion regarding this application for the deletion of a licensee for J.C. James LLC, trading as Lido Pizza and Pasta, 505 South Cherry Grove Avenue, Annapolis, Maryland, 21401?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. The request is granted.
Okay, I just have one question. Cindy, are you gonna, I guess, send out a new application package, or should I just use the one I have now?
I'm sorry, repeat that again?
Should I wait for a new package to come in with his name removed, or should I just use the application that you sent me now and send that back to you?
Well, we can talk offline, but I think we probably should keep what you have now since we're right in the middle of the renewal process for the upcoming year. So I will eventually send you one that is correct.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Mr. Nolan.
Okay, have a good night. Thank you.
Too. All right, and I'm going to combine items 13 through 17 on tonight's agenda as well, which are all requests by the Naval Academy Athletic Association for college lacrosse games. We have 5 requests for Class C one-day liquor licenses to be issued to the Naval Academy Athletic Association for college lacrosse games. Specifically, Navy versus Colgate on Saturday, March 12th, 2022 from 11 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. Navy versus Holy Cross for Saturday, March 26th, 2022, 11 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. Navy versus Loyola on April 9th, 2022 from 12 noon to 5:30 p.m. Navy versus Army for April 23rd, 2022, 1:30 to 4 p.m. And Navy versus Bucknell, Friday, April 29th, 2022, 6 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. All events taking place 511 Taylor Avenue. Mr. Givens, Mr. Bland, Mr. Cook, good to see you all tonight. If you could just give us your name and address for the record, and then I'll turn it over to you. We'll start with Mr. Givens, then Mr. Bland, and then Mr. Cook.
All right, good evening, everybody. My address is 8 North Southwood Avenue, Annapolis, Maryland, 21401.
All right, Mr. Bland.
My name is Curtis Bland. Address is 818 Nancy Lynn Lane, Arnold, Maryland, 21012.
And then Mr. Cook.
Good evening, Joe Cook, 3844 Glebe Meadow Way, Glebe Meadow Way, Edgewater, Maryland, 21037.
All right, thank you all. And I'll turn it over to you guys to begin your presentation.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. As you mentioned, my name is Bill Givens. I'm the Senior Associate Athletic Director with the Naval Academy Athletic Association. And with me tonight is Mr. Joe Cook, Associate Athletic Director with the same organization, and Mr. Curtis Bland with Sodexo Sports and Leisure, who is our stadium concessionaire. As you mentioned, we're here tonight to request a special Class C one-day liquor license to sell beer at those lacrosse games that you mentioned. We will be playing these games in March and April. And while we do allow beer at private tailgates and private hospitality events for the remainder of our lacrosse season, we would like to sell it to the general public now that the weather's getting a little bit better. And you may recall, we did sell beer at Navy football games this past fall, and we've done it historically with professional lacrosse, military bowl, etc. With that, all of the following will be in place for our beer sales, which is very similar to what we've done in the past. The stadium gates will open 1 hour prior to face-off. Beer sales will end at the end of the third quarter, so we'll start from 1 hour prior to the start of the event through the end of the third quarter. It's a ticketed event, limited access. There will be 100% ID checks with Mr. Bland's staff, and we'll be wristbanding those that are approved that they're over 21. Mr. Bland's servers are all tips trained, and they're empowered to not sell to anyone who overly appears intoxicated or in their opinion is intoxicated. There will be a limit of 2 beers per customer per transaction. We will have security on site at the gates and in the stadium. No outside beverages are allowed in, and no beer or that was sold inside the stadium will be allowed to leave the venue. We'll also be on site. They'll also be on site looking for underage drinking, and again, for those that may have been overserved or appear to be intoxicated. The entire stadium perimeter is enclosed by a fence, and as I said, there's limited access, and we do have security at those access points. We will have medics on site. Special Event Medical is our medical provider. They will be manning our first aid rooms and there to assist any patrons that do have any issues during the course of the event. We have had a track record of selling and serving beer at the stadium, as I mentioned in the past. Mr. Bland and his team with Sodexo are experienced doing so with events of all sizes. And we feel that starting to do it with across this upcoming season would fit in nicely to what we've done in the fall. I do believe with our trained servers, tips trained servers, with our security in place, with our medical staff in place, limits on beer, ID checks, et cetera. And our medical staff, as I said, I believe we've got all the things in place to safely and responsibly sell beer to the patrons of these lacrosse games. So having said that, I'll pause and be happy to answer any questions from the group along with Joe and Mr. Bland.
All right, thank you, Mr. Gibbons. Does the board have any questions?
I have none.
No? Yeah, I mean, you guys do a great job with this, so I'm not surprised that there are no questions. With that, do I hear a motion regarding these requests for Class C one-day liquor licenses to the Naval Academy Athletic Association for specific college lacrosse games? Navy versus Colgate on March 12th, 2022 from 11 a.m. to 1:30. Navy versus Holy Cross, March 26th, 2022 from 11 a.m. to 1:30. Navy versus Loyola, April 9th, 2022, noon to 5:30 p.m. Navy versus Army, April 23rd, 2022, 1:30 to 4 p.m. Navy versus Bucknell, Friday, April 29th, 2022, 6 to 8:30 p.m. All events taking place at the Naval Academy Stadium, 511 Taylor Ave.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, the requests are approved. Thank you so much, guys.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much, all.
Enjoy.
All right. Next item, we have the boards and commission referral 0-822 alcoholic beverages at the Market House. We've received some legislation that has come to the board for consideration. Mr. Lyles, do you want to explain this this new legislation that's coming before us and what you want us to do with this tonight and what the
Yeah, sure. This is being sponsored by members of the City Council, Alderwoman Tierney and the Mayor. Basically, the legislation is to allow this particular location, Market House, which is technically owned by the city, to enjoy an expansion of their liquor license from just the beer and wine to alcohol as well. And so the legislation is asking, legislation hasn't been passed yet, but they're asking for a recommendation of favorable or unfavorable or no comment from this board.
Can I just say something as one of their neighbors?
Sure.
So when they originally opened, it was supposed to be a marketplace. It was supposed to be a place where you could get food, some light groceries, and some staples. That's what the neighborhood was led to believe has happened. It has become less and less that and more of a bar. So, I think I like the place. I do. I go there often. I just wonder, if it will ever be the marketplace that was promised, if that's possible. And if creating, giving them a liquor license is going to allow them to just become another bar rather than a marketplace that is a benefit to the locals. If I really enjoyed being able to run there and get milk or cheese or onions or eggs or whatever. and it has become less and less. I understand COVID has been a challenge, but it was even, they had sort of packed up the market part area before COVID. So that's just a concern I have.
I have to kind of go along with Claire there, because I remember when this first came up, when the market house was still under construction and they wanted to open up. And there was a lot of talk from the neighbors. The neighbors were against another bar in that area, since there's
so many.
Within 50 feet, there are five other bars. And I have to sympathize with the neighbors. I really do on this. So I don't see any need for, beer and wine is fine, but I don't see any need for a liquor license.
Thank you, Dick. That's exactly what I'm feeling. And it would give them, I think, beer and wine is fine, but I think giving them a liquor license would be an unfair advantage to the restaurants around them as well.
Definitely.
So I don't think it's a good idea.
Kia, you got any thoughts?
I do. I feel the exact opposite. I mean, I don't live in the neighborhood, but I do remember when they opened as a market house with groceries and that such. But it, as far as I know, the groceries only went but so far as sales are concerned. I mean, this is still a business, and I don't see, why they can't offer something similar to the surroundings that that they're already within existence of. I mean, I sort of feel like it's right. Things change, things evolve.
Yeah, let me stop you there, because if memory serves me correct, the market house is being very much, the rent for the market house is being very, very, very much subsidized by the city, to the tune of about 75% difference between the surrounding locations that have to pay for their square footage.
That's absolutely, that's as I recall. And one of the agreements with the neighbors and the community to allow them to have their beer and wine was, it was understood that they would not push for a liquor license. And there was one of the reasons why they were supposed to have the market area was because they did have a subsidized rent. It was supposed to help the community, help us with something that we're in a food desert. We are. And it is challenging enough going to get groceries. I mean, I live downtown. My street is closed off because Marketplace has been closed off. We agreed to let, and all of my neighbors agreed to let this happen to support the restaurants. But we can't always give them everything that they want if they're not willing to support the community in having basic staples. They have the area, they're using it as storage.
Okay, I understand that, but as things have changed over the last several years, who are we to punish them for having to make some different decisions?
Mr. Lyles?
What I will do is have Cindy send you the lease.
That would be helpful.
Because
I'd like to see that.
I'm reading the lease, the addendum business summary, page 22. The new market house concept will operate a modern public market house that will offer made to order food, fresh prepared items, beer, wine, and retail items that will be available for on-site consumption and takeout. Items will be offered from one or more vendors operating the various stall locations. Vendors will offer seasonably variable fresh produce and market goods in the market sections with an emphasis on local and regional products in accordance with consumer demand. Items sold will reflect the demands and needs of a combination of customers, including residents, visitors, and boaters. And it appears that nothing in this document suggests that they will be pretty much anything other than a place for restaurants to offer prepared food. I mean, the first sentence has beer and wine in it. but I'll make sure that Cindy sends it to you if you want
I
to
would like,
read it
I
and
would like
table
to,
it.
I would like to see it, because one of the things that we were told as residents was it would be a place where where voters could provision stuff, that there was, and originally there was an area where you could get milk and butter and cheese and fresh fruits and vegetables. And that was what we were led to believe was going to be there. It's why a lot of people, my neighbors included, wanted it to happen. And it's just incredibly disappointing as their literal neighbor to see them moving the goalposts.
Well, I think this definitely calls for, I mean, things that I've heard, based on its location, there were theft issues. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff. I think this has to go further and, have them come in or have them before this board and discuss why the market isn't there.
I'd love to hear why, because
I think for our purposes tonight, we just need to either make a comment whether we are in favor of this, we are opposed to it, or there is no comment. I don't know if we can force the market house to appear before the board to discuss why the market portion is not open. So I understand the concern regarding this, and I will tell you, I was on the board when the market house came before to discuss what their intentions were, and it was to turn it into the Belvedere Square Market, which is an establishment, if you're familiar with it, that has some local vendors. It has a lot of small kiosks that serve food, and then there's also an alcohol component there. So I don't know what they projected to the neighbors about their intention, but before the board, it was never stated that it was going to be more to a grocery store than a local place for multiple restaurants to appear and one specific area that had a bar. I know that, it can be difficult when you think that you're getting one thing and you get something that's completely different, or it morphs over time. But for our purposes tonight, my take would be that we just don't have a comment on it. And if somebody's opposed to this, I think it'll be considered at a city council hearing in the near future, where you can express concern with it. So I would say, yep, Mr. Lyles.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, your action tonight, I think the council is wanting either recommended favorably or unfavorably or no comment.
Right. So my take is I would recommend that we don't have a comment on it, because I'm actually on Kia's side for this one. So I think we are divided here. And my take would be that we just state no comment, saying that there's a division.
I agree.
Not sure I agree with that, Jimmy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because a no comment to me actually means that we don't care. And if the marketplace, and my understanding at the time this lease was signed, going back to before they got their liquor license, when that lease was signed, that the city has spent a lot of money on that building, fixing it up, meeting the requirements that were needed for heating and air conditioning and what have you. If the city is truly subsidizing the square footage rental there against the other bars, restaurants in the area, I think that's, we have to give them some rights. And that's where I'm coming from as a taxpayer, as a city resident. They have not met what they originally were trying to do. Now, maybe the market doesn't bear that, but still, as a voter, I have never seen them really offer the things that they were going to offer in the first place for voters to come in and buy their milk, their water, their bread, and that. So a no comment to me is is,
Well, that's fine. I think the board needs to be able to review the lease and consider what the terms and conditions of the lease are then.
okay, thank you for that.
And look, Dick, I totally respect what you're saying, and I think that there is room to disagree here in certain areas, but you know, maybe there is a way that we can come to some common ground that supports both of the needs of, you know, I mean, obviously the citizens thought one thing, but you know, things change, and nobody thought we'd ever have this pandemic. I mean, I just, you know, I don't know. I do see it both ways, honestly. And I just think that
Sure.
before we make some kind of crazy decision.
Cindy.
Cindy, go ahead, sorry.
Mr. Laws, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but if the council ultimately approves this legislation, they're going to have to submit to the liquor board an application to amend their license, and then the board would have the opportunity to question them at that time. Is that correct, sir? If the board passes this?
Yeah, they'd have to amend their license, yes.
Right, they would have to have the liquor.
You will, I guess what I'm
they'll-
saying is you will have an opportunity to bring them before you because they're going to have to amend their license.
Right, but we can't bring them before us just to explain why the market portion is not open right now. So, I mean, for tonight's purposes, if we are truly a board divided on this one, perhaps we can, review the lease. And Mr. Lyles, do you need us to, I mean, can we review the lease and have a vote at the next meeting? When is this going before the city council, do you know?
It's probably already been before the council on first reader. So it's already in the process to be voted on. And it's got 2 more readings. So likely sometime in March.
Okay.
I mean, because we've got two council meetings in March.
Okay.
So we probably the last meeting in March, the second,
Okay.
the fourth Monday in March. So you may not have an opportunity to review it again. But that said, the council has done this before where it has tabled things waiting for a review by the appropriate board or commission or committee.
I would like to have the time to review it.
But that doesn't mean that they will do it.
I know. I can hope.
They do it if there is no comment coming from the board over it, they can table it. But you would have to call your congressman and let them know
I'm
that.
gonna call Ellie.
Call your Ellie. Call Ellie.
I'll call Ellie.
Other than that,
I think she opposed it. I think she opposed the liquor license in the first place. But
she did.
She's the sponsor of this. Now.
Yeah, I got you.
The city, and I will say the lease. I sent Cindy the lease so she can send it to you, so you'll all have it. If not tonight, first thing in the morning. But the city does get $8,000 a month from this establishment, or is supposed to.
Okay. So I guess for tonight's purposes, I don't expect everybody to sit here for 3 hours while we pick through a 25-page lease. My take would be we say no comment. Claire, if you want to call Ellie and let her know that you would request that they table it so that the liquor board can review the lease. I think for tonight's purposes, that would be sufficient. Cindy?
Mr. Lawson, do they have to take an official vote and just call it a tie? I mean,
they don't have to do anything.
Is it even a vote?
We don't have to do anything. We can just, okay.
You don't. Yeah, you have control over this. You've been asked to review it and offer your opinion on it, but you don't have to do that. And I would suspect even if somebody put a motion together, there would be a tie, and so the motion would fail. So you end up in the same place.
All right, we'll do a walk away.
Yep.
Does that work for everybody? Walk away, review the lease.
That's
call
fine.
your Ward 1 liaison.
Oh yeah.
All right.
But they do sell beer and wine right now.
Right. Yeah.
They sell beer and wine right now.
We're I'm aware of that. I like drinking there. I like drinking wine there. But I
concerns, and I know that it's a big concern and has been a big concern in the neighborhood here. So I just
We
Had
can't
to
hear
say
you, but then maybe that's a good thing.
Yeah, probably. All right.
All right, we walk away, we shake hands, on to the next thing. All right, the last item is some unfinished business. We had a proposed amendment to the rules and regs for chapter 2.4 hearings on our agenda. You guys can all see it. I've reviewed it. Does anybody have any questions about the proposed amendment? We've seen it before. If nobody has any questions, then I would, we would turn it over to a motion. Any questions or comments? And I think we reviewed it once before, and I think we went back.
Yeah. No, I'm good. I motion to approve.
I'll second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, that one was
All right,
easy.
thanks,
Good.
guys. Have a
Wow,
great
that was-
night.
that was
Sorry about
easy.
that.
That was easy. I think we do have
Wait.
one
Yeah,
executive
Claire,
session.
you can't bounce yet.
Oh, wait,
Give us
I'm
one
sorry. I
more.
can't, hold on. I can't hear you
One more
guys.
small item.
Sorry,
All
I
right,
thought
well,
we
I'll
were
make a
done.
motion that we go off the record and go into executive session to discuss the last matter.
Okay.
All right. All those
Second.
in favor?
Aye.